Hello, everyone, and welcome to Number 9 Talk. Just waiting for my guests to pop up. What I'd like to say before they come on is please, I'm all behind this phone a friend. People are down out there and needing support. So please give them a call and show some support. Because, I've had people who, on Twitter, let's just say Twitter, I've been in conversation with some people on Twitter, and some people are really rude, really, really bad, and they just don't give a shit about you. So please just ignore them or just block them. Thanks very much. I'd like to say a big hello to when he comes up at the stream. Hello, Fumby. You all right?
Hey, Dom. How you doing, man?
Yeah, are you all right, man?
I'm good. It's been a quiet weekend.
Quiet, yeah.
Bro, results-wise.
Where's the headband?
The headband is there. He's not performing where the headband should be.
Nice one. Yeah, just to talk with you on our last result, 2-0 against Southampton. Pretty dejecting, pretty poor, whatever words you want to throw in there. I was really peed off, and I mean, I don't know whether you watched back my last one. I was really angry and upset by it all. What would be your take on it, on the full performance?
Oh man, I think it's just a tale of our season so far. The lack of consistency is just too much. It's too evident. We play one game where we do decent, and then there's no follow through. It's just too. Bruce has no idea. There's no identity. We've been with Bruce for a year now, and I can't tell you our style of playing. Under Rafa, we knew we're going to be tight, but we had we nicked games. We won games, and we played well, and we were solid, and we went a laughing stock for a while. Now it's just a case of put the talented players on and hope they do the best that they can do. There's no idea. There's no clear plan here. We don't pass the ball. It was terrible. Southampton weren't even at their full strength, and we made Walcott look like he was still playing for Arsenal, and it was terrible. It was embarrassing to watch. I've been watching Premier League teams today. These teams go out and have a go. Like, they play football. They might lose, but they play their style of how we're going to win this game. Bruce is not going to play the same formation now because he's lost. But now what does he do? What's the plan B now? What you going to do? Try another thing that doesn't work? By now we should know, okay, cool, this is the team. And if one player's not working, okay, I can tinker it here. But Bruce is literally picking new 11s or new ideas every time we lose a game. And if we win a game, he doesn't change anything. So I don't get it.
No, I don't either. Welcome, Pete. Nice to see you.
You okay?
Just talking there on the last result. I've just had fun with there, just literally ripping everything apart. I'm going to stick him in the Steve Hasty category at the moment. Just the full on run.
Well, you know what? Sorry, go on.
Yeah, what would be your take on it all? I did watch your last show, and it was brutal, and it was fully deserved towards our lads who just showed no drive at all. Your take there, Pete?
Yeah, no, I think Fumby's absolutely right to have a rant. I think we all feel that way at the moment because look, you've got outside fans from other clubs, you've got pundits, you've got media that will tell us that we've got 11 points on the board and that we're in a relatively comfortable position, and that may well be the case. But the reason why we're ranting is because we're seeing the same shit basically all the time. We're seeing the same type of performances like week in, week out, where it's just very lackluster, where there's no ideas, there's no system, there's no way of playing. It's just very much a mixed match of players just put together and said, right, just go and try and win us the game. And I've said it about Steve Bruce before. This is not the late 90s. This is not the early 2000s anymore. You cannot just chuck a load of players together and expect them to perform. He's not a progressive manager. He's not a modern manager. A modern manager in the modern game, it's changed now from the early 2000s and even the late 2000s. It's a different game now. Tactically, systematically, you need to be on point. And if you're not on point, you get found out very, very quickly. Now, at the moment, we are just getting by because we've got individual brilliance from the likes of Callum Wilson and from the likes of Anton Maximin and the likes of Ryan Fraser, and maybe one or two others that are kind of getting us points on the board. But over a course of a season, that's not going to be the case. And at some point, we are going to go on a run where we're going to really, really struggle to pick up points. And this is the frustration with the fans. The fans are getting frustrated because, look, we as Newcastle fans, we are the most sort of eagle-eyed fans in Europe. I'm not even talking about England. In Europe, we're the most eagle-eyed fans. We see things coming. You know why? It's because we've had so much negativity around our club for so many years, right, that we can see negativity and shit way before it starts to hit the fan. And we can see it already. Okay, and that's why we're getting frustrated. So you've got Steve Bruce that can't manage or systematically put our team together that's going to produce a performance where we can see a way of playing. And that's the biggest frustration with fans, and because we can see that, and like Fumby said, we're because of that, we're seeing performances like we are Friday night. Now, who knows? We don't know all of these good performances, like the West Ham, the Burnley, and the Everton, the better performances this season where we've won games. Who could have honestly said as a Newcastle fan, right, that we would have foreseen that before the game? Who honestly as a fan would have said, you know what, I think we're going to do well today, and it's actually happened. 9 times out of 10, we're saying to ourselves, you know what, we're going to get beat today because we're looking at Bowen, or we're looking at Sebastian Haller, or we're looking at Chris Wood's going to do us over, or we're looking at Dominic Calvert-Lewin's going to get the better of us, and then all of a sudden we're surprised and going, oh wow, we're actually won. We'll take that, fantastic. But we should be looking at teams and thinking, you know what, ASM's going to rip him apart. Almiron's going to get in between the lines there. Callum Wilson used the pace in and behind. He's going to make the difference. We can't think like that because we've got Steve Bruce as manager, and he just does not know what he's doing.
Yeah, completely agree. Just to have another play on Steve Bruce. We've given him a chance, and we've all said Rome wasn't built in a day, was it really? But at the same time, he's had 18 months now in the job, and we should be seeing improvements if his new as a manager, which there is a manager in there. It's just is he ill-advised by people behind him, or is he having his hands tied by Ashley? And it just becomes a circle where it's hurting the club now. Funby?
I don't think he's having his hand tied. I think he's right where he wants to be with Ashley, in the most comfortable position ever. Because he knows Ashley's not going to be knocking on his door for these results. Like Pete said, they're going to look at the 11 points on the board. Yeah, we're doing all right. That's Newcastle now. Yeah, we should be happy with 11 points and shit performances. What are you guys moaning about? You said Rome wasn't built in a day. When Brendan Rodgers came to Leicester, he built that shit in a day. He had them playing ball immediately. Do you see what I'm saying? We can see his ideas. Bruce will do worse with Leicester. Brendan Rodgers with our team, we might not be top of the table, but we'll be like this. You know what? We've got a manager here. Like, if you give him a couple more players, I can see us going places. We can give Bruce anybody. I still can't see us going places. He doesn't. Jamal Lewis is young. He needs coaching. He's not getting better. We're not seeing the performances that had people raving about him last season. We've not kept a clean sheet since the West Ham game. So the defense is not getting better. We're not scoring. Yes, Callum Wilson scored 6 and 7, but like Pete said, again, we're relying on individual brilliance. These guys are not being orchestrated from Bruce's mind of how to open up a team. It's just a case of, hey, I've got these talented players. They should be able to score. I watched City and Liverpool today, and you can see two clear philosophies. They want to score goals. That's it. Yeah. And they had to, their defense was solid. But their first focus was get that ball forward. I don't even know what our philosophy is. Is it keep tight, or is it wait on the counter? Nothing's working because the manager has no idea.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, I'll go back to that. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, carry on, Pete. No, carry on, Pete.
I was going to say, you say about Rome wasn't built in a day. It was definitely built in 18 months. You know what I mean? I mean, we're not talking about a day here. We're talking about 18 months of building a team. And look, Brendan Rodgers hasn't had much longer with Leicester. And look what he's producing with them. And look, we're not saying we should be top of the league. We're not saying we should be in Europe. But I tell you what, a Brendan Rodgers with our set of players would be getting a hell of a lot better performances out of them right now. We would not be sitting here frustrated at the way we're playing, and that's a guarantee. But like I said, Fumby's right. You're looking at the likes of Lewis, and you're looking at the likes of Wilson in ASM. You're looking at all these guys. I'm thinking, you know what? They must be thinking, like, where's the direction here? I've come here at young age, good ages, to really kick on, and where's my coaching? Where am I going to get better here? And there must be a real sense of frustration at the moment. And the only one who's going to do that for them is the manager. But he's got history of not building up players. I mean, you look at Rafa Benitez. Yeah. And the style of formation and the way we set up to play isn't that much different, but I tell you what, he'd have got better performances out of Shaw, Lascelles. He would have got better performances out of Fernandes, who he didn't have very long. He'd have definitely got better performances out of Wilson and ASM. He would have had the tools right now to really kick us on. We could be looking under Rafa Benitez with our current squad at least top 10. Pushing potentially the top 8, because he's now got the tools to be able to do that. But the frustration is that Mike Ashley didn't allow him to continue in that job, and he's given it to a 10th choice manager. Because let's face it, remember, Steve Bruce wasn't even on the list of managers that he wanted. He went through the whole list, starting with Arteta, then Vieira, all the way down, and nobody wanted the job. Why? Because nobody wants to work under those restrictions that Mike Ashley puts in place. And he's literally shot himself in the foot. So we've been left with a mid-table championship manager who was fighting to get out of Sheffield Wednesday to take us on, because they've never got given a Premier League job again. We've given him a new lease of life. But he's in that job, and he's not going to coach anyone to get better. The best we've got is Steve Agnew. And he's not the best coach in the world. In fact, he's probably not even a Premier League worthy coach. So we're expecting a championship coach to be coaching and getting the best out of the players like ASM, Almiron, Wilson, Lewis, and all the rest of them. It ain't going to happen. So this is the predicament that we're in. And it's just a continual cycle that we're going round of performances. One win, one loss, one draw. We might pull out a win somewhere, and then we'll draw one, and then we'll lose one. And it's continual. And we might get to 40 points. We may not. But that's our future for the rest of the season, unfortunately.
Yeah. Just hello there, Clinton. Just come on. You right, fella?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah. Just talking about the result of the weekend on the Friday. How disappointed we were, and talking about Steve Bruce, how clueless he actually does look. And when he's on the touchline, he's not even paying any attention to the game half the time, is he? He's too busy talking to the likes of Agnew and the other fella, I can't remember his name. but it's just poor, and I think we need change. Clinton, what would be your take on the weekend and on Bruce?
Nothing surprises me anymore. As much as I want to laugh and joke with these man about Barcelona football, like nothing really surprised me. Like we have one good game, and then after that, it's just like goes tits up. Like you mentioned him about being on the sidelines. I think sometimes he's just on the sidelines, literally just pinching himself, like he can't believe he's in his dream job. Do you know what I mean? Like we all aspire in our walks of life to be in our dreams jobs. He's in his dream job and he still can't believe it 18 months in. So that's what he's probably doing. That's the probably reason why he can't actually get across his word or whatever. So that's what he's doing half the time. For me personally, we didn't show up. I'm lucky enough, I said this to the lads yesterday, I'm lucky enough that I didn't watch the first half, and I think I saved myself about 45 minutes of pain and anguish, because that, from what I've seen on Match of the Day, it was absolute trash, as Fumby loves to say. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Second half, I'm sure it wasn't much better. Again, going back to what I said yesterday, if it was in a boxing fight, we barely laid the glove on them. If we're supposed to be in for a fight, we literally just waved the white flag. We just thought, you know what, we don't want to turn up today. And lo and behold, like, they were just all over us. It was like a training game, attack versus defense. And guess which one we were, of course. So really and truly now, this is what we're going to be facing all season long. Anything outside of the relegation zone is going to be seen as a win. I mean, Bruce has already had a dream season in Mike Ashley's eyes, because we're through to the quarterfinal of the Carabao Cup. And I can't remember, correct me if I'm wrong, because we usually have our stat man, Keith, who would drop these stats in, but I don't think we've been in the quarterfinals for a very long time, let alone...
We did last season, weren't we?
No, that was FA Cup.
It was under Rafa. It was under Rafa during our championship season.
There you go, under Rafa. So, do you know what I mean? In terms of Mike Ashley, he'll look at Bruce and be like, okay, so he's kept me up last season. You've got through to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup last season. We got beaten by Manchester City, oil money, so no chance of that. And then he's got through to the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup this season, and we might even get through to the semi-finals. So, in Ashley's eyes, he's like, okay, he's kept us in the league twice, and then he's got us on 2 decent cup runs. So, you know, in his eyes, it might be okay, but in the fans' eyes, nah, mate, not having it.
Yeah, I was looking at a stat online. It was someone on about the fact that we've only hit over 50 points with Ashley twice, and if you see it for the 14 years before Ashley, we actually hit over 50 points in 10 of those seasons. So, you know, it just goes to show, you know, what Ashley is doing to this club. He is sapping every single penny. He is sapping every single hope out of the club. And me as a fan yesterday, I was ready just to jack Newcastle in, because, totally honest with you, I just don't want to watch that. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see my club, you know, being that way. Fumby?
Well, can I jump in on that one just quickly? It sees how the expectation level has dropped so dramatically from before Ashley to now during Ashley. Like, I'm seeing this old fossil Mark Lawrenson talk about, we all want to get in the Champions League and that. Leave it out, bro. Leave it out. Even when he was here, he knows what sort of standard we were looking at. But we don't want Champions League. I'm just saying, from a point of view of the likes of us who, let's say we're all in our 30s, for example, we would have seen, you know, the likes of Newcastle, again, finishing up with 50 points, playing in Europe. Why is that such a big stretch? It's not like we're #United and thinking, we can finish Champions League football. We were in the Champions League. We were even in Europa League under Pippin, Pardew, and all the rest of it. And you know what I'm saying? So it's not out of this world to actually think, we could actually be in Europe here. Like, even last season, there was points and times where we're thinking, could we creep in there? And we had a shocking season last season. So, Mark Lawrenson, your old fossil, would allow it, bro. Sorry.
Can I jump in on that? If Fumby wants to go first.
No, go ahead, man. No, go ahead.
I know Fumby wants a piece of this pie as well. So I didn't know when we wanted to go first. But honestly, look, people like Martin Lawson, whatever his name is, he's a dinosaur, right? An absolute dinosaur. Okay, he has done this for no reason, and for one reason and one reason only, is to keep himself relevant. Is because he's literally hanging on, right, to BBC, and I think it was Football Focus where he might have mentioned it, or wherever it was, because he's literally hanging on because nobody wants him anymore. Nobody wants him anymore. Nobody cares about him anymore. Nobody's interested in his analysis. Nobody's interested in his football career or who he used to play for, right? Nobody cares. So people like him and people like Danny Mills and Danny Murphy, and there's a few others out there, Michael Owen, for example, that say these things to get reactions. There's no research involved. There's no speaking to the fans. There's no even watching a football game. All they do is just make these points just to try and get those fans riled up and angry, because all that does, it gives them exposure. Because what the media do is then shout about how he's made this comment and how the Newcastle fans aren't happy. And you've seen it over this weekend. His video of that little clip from 20 seconds or whatever it is, it's been all over social media and all over the Newcastle fans' social media. And that is a success for him, because that keeps him relevant. He'll probably be back on next week to talk about that and to emphasize that point. And that gets him another payday on TV. And that's all it is. It's because he's irrelevant. These guys don't even watch Newcastle play. These guys haven't got a clue. And Fumby's absolutely right. Those kind of fossil guys I'm not interested in. I don't watch their programs. I don't watch anything that they're on, because they have no idea about what Newcastle fans are and what they want and what we want. Right, we've not been that way in terms of what is expecting Europe or Champions League or to be challenging for the title since Bobby Robson walked out the door. Our hopes of that left with him, right, and our fans have been honest and open about that. Okay, what we want to do is have a team that's competitive, that actually wants to win, that actually wants to fight at the top end of the table. We just want to be competitive and not just fight for 17th and above. That's all it is with fans. And all you need to do is come and ask us. The people that I like is Jake Humphries, and in particular, Henry Winter. Henry Winter is obviously, he's not a pundit, but he writes a lot of articles about Newcastle. But you know what? He speaks to fans. He talks to fan groups. He talks to people within the club, and he does his research. So when he does write something, it means something. He's not a fan. He's not attached to the club like your George Caulkins and your Lee Ryders and your various others, your Liam Kennedys, for example. He's not attached to the club in any way, but he does his research. So when he writes something, it means something, and the fans can connect. And the fans can understand where he's coming from. It's not all rosy. There are negatives in there, but the fans can understand that because they can tell that he's done his research on it. These guys don't, and that's why I have no time for them whatsoever. They're just a bunch of clowns, absolute clowns. And they're just a waste of time and effort.
I was going to say Fordy's looking like a young Michael Jackson with the throw on from Jackson 5. Just trying to be bad out here. I see you,
Give me one more chance.
But you man, all right. Like, hey, listen.
I'm trying to be like you, mate.
Hey, we get a lot of Newcastle fans, yeah. We get a lot. I don't like the disrespect we get. Like, we want to be in Champions League. Like, who said that? Like, we're not saying that, but you can't watch your team being trash and then not moan about it, especially when the thing is this: if we were Fulham or a Crystal Palace even, or one of them teams with a tiny stadium where it's a miracle they're staying up, I can only honestly understand that. We've got a 50,000 seater stadium. We have a big fan base. There is no reason why we can't be managed well. That's all I'm saying. It's not about being in the Champions League, but why is the club not? Leicester's being run well. Why are we not being run well? That's it. So all those pundits are just mad haters. They don't know what they're talking about. They keep covering up. It's because Steve Bruce is, he's an Englishman. He's an Englishman. He's one of their boys. They have coffee together. So they always want to protect him. Because if we had a foreign manager, they'll be on his case. Because there's no way that you can watch this and tell us we should be happy with what we're watching. I'm not stupid. You know, we're fans. We watch football, and so we know what we're watching is trash.
Yeah.
Spot on.
It's trash.
Very good.
Trash. Look,
I love that.
if you go back to right, if you look at other than Man U, Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, and Arsenal, apart from that top five, those top big clubs, we've had more title tilts than any other team in this division, other than those five. Other than those five,
Yeah.
I think, and I might be wrong, and we need the stat man really. I wish he was here tonight because he'd be able to tell us. But other than those five, we've been in more Champions League seasons than any other of those clubs. Okay, and I might be wrong with Tottenham, but I'm not sure. So, and that's and just and put that into perspective, we've not played in the Champions League since 2005, but yet we've still had just as many Champions League campaigns as the rest of those Premier League clubs that are still there. So we have a right to think that we not that we should be in the Champions League or fighting for the title, but we should have a right in thinking that we're a club that should be fighting for more than just the 13th, 14th place in the table. We have a right to think that because of what we've seen before us, as what we were as younger guys growing up watching the likes of Asprilla and Les Ferdinand and Alan Shearer, and then later on your Lauren Roberts and your Kieran Dyers and your Craig Bellamy's, right? Playing Champions League football, going to Milan, getting into the second phase of the Champions League, just missing out by one goal for a quarter final. We've been there.
Yeah.
We've fought.
We've
in the
lived
last
it.
30 years, you haven't had Villa in there. You haven't had Leeds got to a semi-final or very close, fair play, but it was only once. You only had one tilt. You know, you're looking at all the other clubs in there, the Palaces, like you said, the Watfords in the past. All these teams, they've been nowhere near it. So we feel
Tottenham
like we
just got
should be
into it.
fighting for more. Exactly.
Tottenham just got
Tottenham
into it
have
recently.
Exactly. So we, and yes, they got to the final. Fair play to them, but you know, other than that, their other Champions League seasons weren't great. So we have a right of thinking, yeah, we should be in the top half of the table and fighting for more. And the only reason it's stopping us is our owner. That is it. And I'm convinced that I'm not talking about in particular the Saudis. I'm talking about just when Ashley sells a club to whoever it is, it won't be long. It would not be long when a new owner comes in. That it doesn't matter how much money they've got, whether they're multi billionaires or whether they've got the same amount of money as Ashley or less. We will have someone that wants to put money into the club, and it won't be long. That transition would not be long for us becoming a top 10 club again.
Yeah. What I want to touch on, guys, is the squad. We look at Darlow, who has been championed by a few of our fans to make the England team. But then you look at what Southgate said, over the selection time, is that no one is pushing Pickford and his other selections close enough to be picked. And
Southgate.
I find that absolutely disgusting. And I do. Funby?
I mean, do I think Darlow should have been in the England squad? Whatever. If they want, if they don't want, I can see that. He's just started. It's 8 games. He still has a lot to prove. So I can understand that. It's his first. The only reason he's in goal for us is because Dubraka's injured. So there's a lot of that to play in there. But Pickford is not hard to push. So the idea that no one's pushing him is like, yeah, whatever. I don't really care if our players are in the England squad. I'd rather they played for Newcastle. If Callum Wilson, I can imagine Callum Wilson was disappointed for not being picked. And here was a game where he'd want to show kind of Southgate what he was missing. But yeah, no chance.
Look,
chance.
man.
Yeah.
No, from me, you're forgetting as well. You got to feel sorry for Gareth Southgate. Reason being, he suffers from a rare disease. It's called northeast-itis. So any player that plays in the northeast, he doesn't see them. It's for some reason like it comes oblivious. He gets the blinkers on and he doesn't see them. If they're English, Dutch, German, whoever he's managing, he doesn't see them. So northeast-itis, look it up. It's a good thing. So
Fordy,
it's unfortunate, bro.
Fordy, you're wrong, bro. It's not even northeastitis. It's Newcastleitis. That's what it is.
Oh yeah.
Like, because
Yeah. Sorry.
because if Pickford was playing for Sunderland right now, even in League One, he'd be in the squad, right? if there was anybody, if Jonathan Woodgate in current physical condition was playing for Middlesbrough, he'd be in the England squad. Okay, it's an issue with Newcastle and Newcastle only. It's not northeast. I wouldn't surprise me if someone from Hartlepool gets picked up, or someone.
The only one
Durham
if he was
gets picked up
English
soon.
the only one, if he was English, would play in the England side from Newcastle is Jeff Hendrick.
Steve Bruce's long lost son, yeah.
Steve Bruce is the illegitimate son. Apparently, allegedly, that's the one. Allegedly.
There must be a clause in his contract that says, "I'll sign for you, man, but I got to start every game."
What, like Joe Linton, apart from last week?
Yeah, I was about to
Jeff Hendrick got the same deal as Joe Linton. They must have the same agent or something, because God knows how them two stay in the team. I do not know. Seriously.
Right, he probably has a clause, yeah. You know how them players where they get a clause where I have to be the highest paid player at the team. He has a clause where if you get another midfielder, you got to play me up front.
But yeah, going back to what you were saying, I don't care no more if they play for England. I don't even watch England matches anyway. I know that doesn't sound very patriotic of me, but I don't get excited about England unless it's a real big competition. So I'm not asked about these friendlies or nation leagues or whatever you want to call them, FIFA leagues. Listen, unless it's something big and it's a big tournament, then I'll be like, yo, Jamal needs to go, John Joe needs to go, Callum needs to go, Carl Darlow needs to go. But in this moment in time, we need them a lot more than England needs them. Like, England have got all of England to choose from. And we already talked about the itis that Gareth Southgate has. Cool. Have that itis for up until the Euros or whatever. And then Carl Darlow can make a last-minute dart in, or Callum Wilson can come in if Harry Kane gets injured or whatnot. But until now, keep them in Tyneside. That's all I'm saying, because I don't want them to be anywhere near. In fact, I don't really want Fraser in Scotland. The only one who can go out is Jeff Hendrick for me. Like, listen.
And Joe Linton for the Brazilian squad.
Hey, Fumbi, should we go back to Pete's old comment about when he saw Joe Linton play?
It was after the first goal against Tottenham. Pete got gassed. Hey, Ronaldo, you know. Neymar to Joe Linton.
Pete thought Joe Linton was going to be in the Brazil squad and be the next Ronaldo, bro. And then
Pete just wanted to hear Neymar squares it to Joe Linton.
I'm not even gonna lie. And I did say that, Iceman. I did. I saw that goal. I was at a wedding and I saw him score that goal. Obviously, we won the game and I was buzzing. Maybe a little bit too gassed, if I'm honest. Maybe a little bit. But I just in my mind, I just started thinking, you know what? November's coming up soon. He could get a call up. He could get his first call up after that goal. He didn't score again for the rest of the season, I don't think. It's Sheffield United in the Premier League.
The only time you're going to see Joe Linton in a Brazil shop is when he buys it from Sports Direct. Forget about it.
Funnily enough, he had the best chance. He actually had the best. I didn't know he had that header in him.
Yeah, and it still went wide. It went all over. What do you mean? He still had it in it. It's not like he buried it.
Fumbi, neither did he.
I didn't know he had it in him.
It probably came off him by accident. He was like, oh, what's that? Oh, it's the ball. Oh, right. That round thing. Okay, yeah.
You know what, though? What's bugging me is man's doing hairstyles. But when you scored one goal on a 40 million thing, but if you keep that shit low, you know, it's a low cut. That's all you can bring. Man's got the perm with the blonde. What are you doing?
Mate, he's trying whatever it is to try and get some luck. He's trying to look like players. He's trying to play like players. Listen, he might even get a stunt double to try and play for him. He's trying anything to score goals, but he can't, bro. It's painful. It's actually painful. And the worst thing is as well, if Callum Wilson is out longer than we actually think, oh my God, it's going to be Joe Linton starting up top. Either that or Fumi's favourite son, Andy Carroll. So,
No, with worst comes to worst, we've got Hendricks. Hendricks can play up front, bro. I can tell you that.
Hendricks can play anywhere.
Worst comes to worst. We'll see Hendricks up front.
Oh man!
Oh my God, I've seen it all, man. Flipping out. Hey, you might as well get Alan back. Alan Shearer, what are you doing? What are you doing there? Right, bro, just get him back.
He'd score.
What your boots on?
He'd grab a goal against Chelsea, no doubt. He'd grab a goal, but it looked like he had a little bit of a strain. It didn't look like it had gone. I think in his mind, no, Callum Wilson. I'll be honest with you, like the way, because when I was watching it for about a 10-minute spell, he was kind of like trying to stretch it out, and he didn't really do too much running after that for like the last 10 minutes before he came off. And I think in two minds, I think it was a strain, or he'd felt a little something, and then he didn't want to risk it. And I think I think that's all it was. I think a 2-week rest. I think he'll be good to go for Chelsea. But with the way we're playing at the moment and the likelihood of us getting a result, I wouldn't even risk him. We've got.
But what Chelsea are playing at the moment?
Well, that's it. I mean, with the Chelsea game, fair enough. But if you think that when we talked about it the other night, the games that we've got afterwards, you're going to want Wilson firing. So you probably want to rest him for that game, just to ensure he's had a 3-week rest and then he's ready for the next one, or the next run of games.
Pete, Chelsea's a write-off for me, bruv. That's the reason why I was more pissed off at Southampton, because remember when we were going through that list and we was going through the next 9 games, I looked at Chelsea and like, nah, write that one off. I know what you're going to say from me. We do well against Chelsea, but
I'm not saying that no more. I'm not saying that no more.
Okay, yeah. He's not bringing that same energy, is he, Pete? Because before he was like, we do well against Chelsea. I'm like, I don't know about that same one this season.
The thing is, I reckon we could get a draw against Chelsea. I swear down. Then we will lose the next game. That's my problem. It's not about us winning Chelsea. It's like we don't have a consistency mode. Like we will beat Chelsea, and then Bruce will be like, you got to give me time, and we'll lose the next game to Palace on a totally different sham performance.
Yeah. That's
I mean, the comment that just come up before there. Does Dubravka need to earn his place back, or is his place sound? I think Darlow's done really well, but I think it's always dubs for me.
Darlow's good, but he's not Dubravka good. Let's not spin our head.
I'm still asking the question.
He's good, but he's not Dubravka good. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, listen, as soon as Dubravka walks in, like, cheers for keeping it small for me. Yeah, cool. Cheers, Darlow.
It's either Dubravka or Hendricks in goal. That's all I want to see. Dubravka or Hendricks.
Listen, Hendricks has got enough on his plate already. He already plays centre mid, right mid, left back, lady, biscuit boy, everything. He doesn't need no more. Leave him where he is.
Nothing big enough for the numbers on his back. For Hendrick.
I just don't get how he's played every game this season. I don't get it. And he came on a free. And he's played every game.
And he's playing for free. That's how he's playing, bro. The way he's playing, bro, he looks like he's playing for free. Looks like he's playing Sunday League, bro. The way he's playing, oh my gosh. I'm like, how is he getting ahead of Hayden? How are you getting ahead of Sir Isaac? Sir Isaac walked into our team alongside Callum Wilson on a good day. No way should Hayden be anywhere near that bench, even if he's 75% Hayden. No way should he be on the bench.
Hayden should have come on. Huh? Come on. He should have come on to see out the game.
Hayden should have started, Fumbi.
Hayden should have come on. If Hayden's 75%, you play him to the 60-70 mark, and then you bring on Hendricks to run it out. That whole mistake in our back fence.
Hold on. Let's go back to that England conversation quickly. If we're talking about England internationals,
right?
Hayden is at the top of the list. Hayden, even I might even be Hayden with Wilson. I was about to say Hayden above Wilson, but I've got to be realistic.
I think Hayden more. Hayden more because the striker position is very competitive. So I can understand why Callum Wilson misses out. But Hayden, they don't have. They don't have a Hayden.
They
And
don't
Hayden's
have.
only being humble because he's playing in a team where he knows this manager is not going to he's not going to show my best qualities. Under Rafa, Hayden will be knocking on that door nicely by now. He would have molded him into that clean-up guy.
Talk that talk from me, yeah, bro. Because Hayden should be in that team. I don't see Declan Rice ain't doing what he does.
No, not Hayden. Not Hayden.
Who else have we got in England who does what does Hayden does? Does it?
Endo.
Yeah, okay, all right, yeah.
Right.
But if we're talking squads, he should be in that squad.
Yeah.
Squad. No, maybe not team, but in the squad.
Yeah.
But again, if you're going to give me Henderson, that's not enough for me. Need more than one. But yeah,
Declan Rice as a midfielder is playing no better than Isaac Hayden. The only thing that sets him aside, or certainly puts the question mark there, is the fact that Declan Rice gets more goals. I think if Isaac Hayden added goals to his game, I think you'd see Isaac Hayden getting into the England squad, because actually, and the stat man would prove it, that actually over a period of time, if you went back, say, like a year, and you put those stats in there about tackles and ball retention and all the rest of it, right? Hayden would be streets ahead of Declan Rice with that, even if you went for this season.
The only thing that gets Declan Rice ahead of Hayden is his bromance with Mason Mount. That's it. Because anytime I see something on social media, them two hugging and all the rest of it, holding hands, listen, I'm done with that. Look, if I want a defensive midfielder to do the dirty work, I'm going to Isaac Hayden every day of the week and twice on Sunday. That's what I want. If I want goals, I look to my forwards, I look to my wingers. I don't really care for defensive midfielders scoring goals, because in abundance we've got the likes of Sancho and Sterling and Kane and all the rest of it for goals. But if you want a defensive midfielder to be defensive and just break up the play and distribute it to whoever, Isaac Hayden, man, that's all day long. Easy.
And that's the thing. If you look at the way England set up, they set up with two defensive midfielders. So Isaac Hayden is your man for that. And you've got him and Hendo bombing on in and around each other. They would be well suited for it. So, yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, that's the one position in England where it's actually really, really limited in terms of who you pick, because they play players that don't know how to play in centre midfield, and that's why we struggle at times. But look, Hayden's up there. I think Wilson's up there as a striker. I think the way in which he plays suits the style that England play. He's fast, he's pacey, he gets in and behind. Ings is the same. I haven't seen enough from Tammy Abrahams. Tammy Abrahams is going to have to leave Chelsea if he's going to regularly play and score goals. Because look, with Timo Werner, he did, but why was that? It's because Havertz wasn't fit, or he was recovering from coronavirus. So, other than that, he doesn't get in the team, and he's certainly not going to get the amount of games and the amount of goals that he got last season, because he was playing a lot of games last season. So I think he's going to have to leave if he needs to get back into that squad on a regular basis. And Callum Wilson will score more goals than Tammy Abrahams this season in the Premier League. I've got no doubt about that. If he stays fit, he'll get double figures, and then Southgate's got an answer, a question to answer, because Callum Wilson is a clinical striker. He's a clinical striker. He's hungry. He's at a great age right now. He's got the appetite, and he wants to get to the Euros. He wants to be playing. So look, we've got a couple of players. Look, Jamal Lascelles nowhere near, and there's a few others that we've talked about. John Joe Shelby nowhere near. Not the right type of players for England. But those two, Wilson and Hayden, have got potential for sure. No doubt about that. But going back to that, so just really quickly, going back to that Dubravka, I know these boys have had their say. Look, Dubravka's our number one. It's as simple as that. The guy has been doing it since he came in. This is the first time he's missed a Premier League game in God knows how long. And it was through a forced injury, an injury that he came back to pre-season with, that Bruce still made him train with, even though his ankle was bad, and he told him it was bad. He still made him train for 2 days, and then made it worse to the point that he had to have surgery. And I don't think that's been highlighted enough. So that's again classic Bruce, right? Wheeling his axe again on another player, important player at the club. But look, let's be honest. Darlow has played well. I'm not his biggest fan. For me, and Fordy will know that. I don't particularly rate him. But I tell you what, he's probably had his best form at Newcastle this season, and that's including the Championship season. However, that boy signed a 5-year contract, saying clearly in that contract that he's second choice. He knows his place. He knows he's just keeping that goal line warm for Dubravka when he comes back, and that's just the reality. We want our best players fit and ready to go. So when they're ready, they come back into the squad. It's as simple as that. If we're going to get the points that we need to stay in the league, that's what we want.
You're lying, bro. You're lying, because we all know during this lockdown period, you've got your Darlow tattoo, and you want to show it off, bro. We know it, bro, don't we? Pete he got his Carl Darlow tattoo and his Carl Darlow matching quilt and his Carl Darlow poster, and he's like, "Yeah, boys, we got number 2."
You know the madness. If you look at the first goal, we conceded yesterday. It was a great shot from, I think it was Chadams that took the first shot. I can't remember. Yeah. But the save Darlow did, not only did he save the ball, he pushed it completely out of danger, which I was like, oh my God, that's impressive. And then Miggy got the ball. I thought, okay, break. But then he gave it back and we conceded a goal. But what I'm saying is, if we were winning, let's say we were winning every single game and bossing and playing a great brand of football, I could understand if Dubravka had to fight for his place. But we ain't winning. We are doing whatever. So I want to... So when he's back, he's back. I'm not going to miss Darlow. Appreciate the time you spent with us, but I need Dubravka back because I'm that more confident in these games that we're probably going to lose anyway.
Yeah. What I wanted to touch on, we've had problems with our midfield for quite a while, and I did come out and say on probably one of my shows, I can't remember if it was on Twitter or not. I said, you know, we've had problems over the years, and then we as fans saw clubs signing midfielder after midfielder, and we were all going, why to sign a striker? But now are we seeing why? Because we just can't string midfielders together at the minute, can we?
Bruce, we've got some talented midfielders. Sean Longstaff was playing great football before, you know, whatever. We got Hayden there. The thing is this, Bruce has set us back. Shelby wasn't even getting into our team prior to Bruce coming in. Now he's comfortable with the Hollywood pass and just doing whatever. Hendricks, I don't know why he's in the mid, but it's such a weird situation because that midfield was not our issue before. This wasn't our problem. I said on the show yesterday, right back was not an issue for us. Now all of a sudden we're playing the strikers at right back. Like, what the hell is going on?
Listen, Bruce is just playing lucky dip with our midfield, seriously, because like you said before for me, Shelby wasn't getting into our team. Rafa wasn't having him. He was on his way out. He was probably going back to West Ham or whatever under Rafa, because Rafa saw in him what we all saw in terms of he was ill-disciplined. He lost the ball a lot. Yes, he was capable of pulling off that one Hollywood pass every other 5 games or whatever. But again, with Rafa, he wanted work rate in that midfield. That's the reason why he brought the likes of Hayden in. That's the reason why the likes of Longstaff and all the rest of it was starting to flourish. Now Bruce has come in. Bruce has brought him back into the side, and you can even tell by the media that Shelby was there at the start of the season or at the start of last season when he was like, "Oh yeah, Bruce is not too bad." As it goes, yeah, because he favours you, John Joe. And all respect to him, obviously, John Joe then went on a little run and scored a couple goals and stuff. But is he the future going forward of our team? Not on your Lenny, man. Nah, I can't see it, because we need workers like Hayden. I hate to coin a phrase from John Carver. I'm remixing a phrase from John Carver because he said he needed 11 Jack Colbacks. I'm going to rephrase that and say I think we need about 5 Isaac Haydens and a couple of ASMs and maybe a couple Callum Wilsons, and we'll be all right. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's the remix of John Carver, not actual John Carver. But what I'm trying to say is that if Bruce actually had his head on his shoulders, he would actually figure out, like, oh, we're midfield heavy, very heavy. We're not got too much going on up top, so Wilson gets in every single day of the week and twice on Sundays. But midfield is our area where we actually need to make sure we get the best out of it. Now, me and Fumbi and Pete have debated all the time about, can we fit in the likes of Fraser, Almira, and ASM? I've said no, because reason being, we don't leave ourselves anything on the bench come the 60th or 70th minute if we're chasing the game, and most of the time we are, especially under Bruce. I would like to see all the three of them play, but that means we've got to have extra strength and depth, because if one of them is missing, or if one of them has a shocker like ASM has had quite recently, who do you bring off the bench from B? Who do we bring off the bench, bro? You know who he is.
Remember, I said to you,
your favorite boy.
Remember, I said though, if we're playing 4 of them and one of them's having a shocker, I can live with that. It's only if all of them are having a shocker, you have an issue.
No. But like the other day and like previous days, most of the time, if ASM has a shocker, we ain't got no chance. We really haven't. It's crazy to me, and it shouldn't be like that.
I think ASM's our biggest problem right now.
If ASM has a shocker, Almiron should be able to pick up the ball and, like, you know what, ASM, you sit this one out, I'll do it. Again, he doesn't tend to, and this is not me.
That's down to coaching. That's down to coach. You're right. You're 100% right. But because none of them has been given a specific role, like this is what you do in this team, none of them know what to do. So all their mindset is this: when we pass to ASM, he's going to dribble everybody, and then we're going to win the game.
Yeah,
that's how he's thinking. Yeah. Whereas Frazier come on, and he was like, I run behind defenders. I'm not waiting for no ASM or no one to tell me what to do. This is how I play football. That's what you should be telling them. I keep saying to you, I don't want to see ASM dribble everybody. I don't need it. I need to see him have effective passing and effective thoughts in terms of, I've got the ball now. Where are my teammates? Can I do a 1-2 Sean Longstaff? Can I look it long to Miggy? Don't dribble everybody. It's dead.
I'm sick of him. I'm sick of ASM. It's not his fault. It's just the way they teach it out. But I'm sick of him picking the ball up on the halfway line and making a 10, 15 yard jinking run, take past 2 or 3 players, and playing it out wide, and then the move breaks down because he's done his bit, and then the other players can't do their bit. What the problem with where he's at right now is he's easily managed because he needs space to pick up the ball. But all you do if he's playing in the middle is just get men around him. So he struggles to pick the ball up, and then he becomes ineffective. That's why he's best out on the wing, because out on the wings you can play wide, you can create yourself 5 yards of space to receive the ball, one touch, and then bang. Once he's turned on his defender, he can go. And that's where he's most effective, and that's why we're losing the quality that he has now. It was a no-brainer on Friday. Ryan Bertrand, who's a fantastic left back for Southampton, wasn't playing. They had a left back that doesn't really normally play left back and certainly isn't very good playing down there. So as a manager, your first thought should be, right, who's the player that I want running at that left back who's not a traditional left back? And it's ASM. And it didn't happen. And it's just like it's just like basic decisions. You've played a centre midfielder that isn't very fast, that isn't very good on the ball, that isn't a great tackler in that midfield on his own with Almiron and Sean Longstaff, who are equally not great runners. Well, Almiron's a great runner, but not defensively very good, and Longstaff is better on the ball than he is off the ball. So you've got a real mixed match of a midfield there, but yet you're playing against the likes of Walcott and Gineppo, who are quick, who are fast players that can run at you. So every time they pick the ball up in that gap, they were gone and leaving Hendrick for dead because he hadn't got the pace to catch up with them or to keep up with them, and he hadn't got the defensive ability to nick the ball off them. And that's where Hayden should have been playing. And it was an absolute no-brainer. So it's mistake after mistake after mistake that was happening on Friday. And you could see it within 10 minutes, and that's why we were getting overrun. But going back to the original point is that, look, we had to sign a striker this summer. We had to go all out because it was what we were missing. It was very clear that we could not go to another season with Joe Linton leading the line because it just wasn't good enough. And our move for Wilson got fast-tracked because Gale then got injured. So we had to get a striker, and we had a small budget. So that budget was, well, Callum Wilson was a significant chunk of our budget. It had to be done. But it was also clear that we needed a midfielder. The problem is that we already had 5 midfielders, but they're all of the same type of player. So you look at Matty Longstaff, you look at Sean Longstaff, you look at Hendrick, right? They're all pretty much the same. You look at John Joe Shelby, there's not too much different to those of the 4 that I've just said. It's only really Isaac Hayden that gives you something different. We needed
build on.
another box. Yeah, to build on. We needed another box-to-box midfielder. Someone like a Diame, who we lost in the summer, would have been perfect to be sitting in that midfield alongside Isaac Hayden. And you could have them just going box to box and breaking things up, pressing players, making it difficult, and then leave it to the main guys to do the business. But we haven't got that. And the reason why we couldn't buy a midfielder was because we already had 5. We already had too many. So one of them had to go. We needed Matty Longstaff, not because he was going to be first team ready, but actually it was because he is a homegrown player and we needed homegrown players within our 25-man squad. That's what it boils down to. It's the only reason Paul Dummett's still at the club. It's not because of his ability. It's not because he's a Geordie. It's because he's a homegrown player and he counts towards our 25-man register. And that's the key.
Yeah.
And that's really what it boils down to why we didn't sign a midfielder. But we need one. We had that Soumer from France. I think he plays at Lille. Fantastic talent. And yes, he rejected it in January, and we were going to go back in for him in the summer. But he was the closest we would have had to a Diame replacement because he gives you that 20 odd years old, box to box, dynamic midfielder, presses high, good on the ball. He would have been ideal, and it's a shame we didn't get a chance to boost the midfield. But it's going to be interesting because I think, regardless of the fact he signed a new contract, I think Shelby's going to be out the door, whether it's in January or whether it's at the end of the season. I think he'll be the first one gone, because he's got the least to offer at the moment in our midfield.
Yeah. Looking at strikers now, we've got Karen Wilson, Fumby's favourite player, Andy Carroll. And we've got the likes of Gale, and then we've also got the youth as well coming through. But you look at Joe Linton, who we can all see is not that striker who everyone wants him to be. He's just not that player. What would be your take on our forward line? Do we carry on as a one up front, or do we play on as a 2?
I would say, I think it's really, you can just tell, man, our club is just not getting no love. It's amazing that we still have Dwight Gale, Andy Carroll on the books, in terms of we've just not tried to move on since for a good striker. We tried to go with Joe Linton, 40 million. At this point, we literally have to do what we did with Mitrovic. Just sell him, because he's just not going to get any better. He's not a great striker. If Callum Wilson gets injured, we're screwed. We're in big trouble because we've got nothing going forward. If we play Andy Carroll, you thought the football was bad now. Oh my God, we're going to be crying after games because he just offers alley-oop football, locked it in the air, knocked down to no one that's around him, and then the other team picks it up and they carry on again. So striker-wise, it's terrible. We need another investment. Like, I wanted another striker because I just knew we would need more than just one. And so, yeah, that's a position I'm not excited about. Callum Wilson's amazing, but come on, man, we should be having at least, we had Papi Cisse and Demba at one point. We had Alan Shearer, we had Michael Owen and Martins at one point. We had Viduka and Sebastian, what's the French guy we had? We had ballers in that position. And now it's just down to bare bones. Andy Carroll should not be playing for us at all. He should be on the touchline giving us moral support, not getting dressed to play.
Yeah. Andy Carroll should be our head of flipping party organization. That's what he should be doing, man. Just getting on it. Like, that should be his official title. He should no longer be like a registered striker at the club. It baffles me. Like, it was nice for the whole sentiment value of things, but you know what I mean? It was nice. Oh yeah, we got one of our own and all the rest of it. Yeah, cool. But can you put it in the back of the net? Answer is no. So it baffles me how we didn't replace or get someone else in with Wilson. It really does. We, again, going back to our conversations, boys, like, we've talked about the likes of Troy Deeney getting signed. Again, he would have fit the bill for a couple of years until...
He's not even playing at Watford at the moment. You know what I mean?
Easy,
and he's a presser. He's a bully. If you go back to the West Ham game where Carroll actually did play all right, him and Wilson up front, what he did, he took the pressure off Wilson. So Wilson could stretch those defenders, and Carroll could be that battering ram. But you know he ain't going to do that every game. You know someone like Troy Deeney would, and you know those would work well together. And it's a no-brainer. It would be a no-brainer.
Troy Deeney would have been on the cheap. Again, another option would have just done if he just did the double and just signed Wilson and King. Do you know what I mean? It would have made even more logical sense to me. The fact that King, Wilson work together, easy fit. Fraser whipping in balls to the two of them. He's done it before, just in red and black. Now he's just doing it in black and white. So just little things like that. It makes sense. I know it's a big and sizable investment, but again, we're definitely going to come short. I mean, it's looking like it's going to come short now with Wilson going to be out for a while. Dwight Gale, as much as I like him, he's not going to have a future at this club. He's just going to sit it out and be on the big amount of wages that he's going to be on. Carroll, as we said before, has got no hope. And believe it or not, we still got Muto on the books. Obviously, he's out on loan, but he's still officially on the books. So, do you know what I mean? Our enforcements are so top heavy. Before, it used to be we've either got too much of one area, mainly like defence, or maybe even strikers. Now it's just like we've got a shed load of midfielders, couple of defenders, which are okay, which is
shed load of right backs.
We've got more goalkeepers than we have strikers. Kid you not. If you look through it, the Bravcott, Darlow, Woodman, who's the other one? We've got Gillespie. Like we've got more registered goalkeepers that you could throw in as a first choice than strikers. Because again, Gale's out on loan. Carroll's in and off the treatment bench. So and then we've got Joe Linton. So and he doesn't really count as a striker because if he's a striker, I'm a striker. Do you know what I'm saying?
Have you man ever been to a Sports Direct?
I might have to, mate. I might have to get that shirt on behind me.
Have you man ever been to a Sports Direct?
Sports Direct?
Yeah, man.
Do I say that out loud or what? Do you know?
If you've ever been to a Sports Direct, that's exactly how Ashley is managing our club, like a Sports Direct, a low budget trainer sports store. That's how he's trying to treat Newcastle.
Steve Bruce right now is the general manager. Joe Linton is the guy getting the stock out of the stock room. Callum Wilson is employee of the month at the moment.
Right.
It's literally like that.
Like you can be in the West End, but you still know you're getting bargains here. Even though you're in the West End strip, this is the bargain store. That's how Newcastle, that's how he's treating us, like a bargain store. And it's embarrassing because we're not that. We can be so much more. But you're looking at it like, you know what, cheap.
This is what other fans don't understand. And it's only really come out in sort of the last years, maybe the only last 6 months, is that other fans don't see the type of things that we see that actually does to our club. Yeah, you made that link, that comparison to Ashley and Sports Direct, and you're absolutely right. Andy Carroll's on a 0-hour contract. You know what I mean? He's one of them ones, and it's true. And it's true, and he's running our club into the ground. It's already well documented. We have half the amount of staff at our club compared to any other Premier League club. We have half the amount of staff doing the daily duties and the things that a Premier League club and the amount of Premier League staff that should be at a club. We have half that amount, and he is running it on a low budget, low maintenance. System, and that's the frustrating thing, because all we're doing season upon season is just limping along, and the fact that we are still considered a bigger club and the fact that we are still a pull is the only thing that's keeping us ticking over. And I go back to the point is that when he leaves, whenever that is, however long in time that is, when he leaves, you'll see the club just completely transform, literally overnight. It will transform, because any businessman or woman that comes into that club who's our next owner will look at it thinking, what the hell has he been doing the last 12, 13 years? Because he's just been running it into the ground. It's an embarrassment that he's doing it. And now more and more people, particularly over this takeover stuff, are starting to see how badly he's running it with the season tickets and how long it took to get the refunds and all the rest of it. And seeing about the fact that he hasn't communicated with fans. He's done it more recently, but all through.
Is he frozen?
Mike Ashley's coming and he's frozen feet.
Can you hear me? I'm a back.
Hey,
I'm a back.
Mike Ashley cut your stream, fam. You said too much.
Mike Ashley swoops in. He's like, no slander on my name.
You don't want. You don't want the smoke. You don't want the smoke. That's why.
You don't want it.
You don't want it. But like, he's literally just. The positive thing in the last 6 months is that media and people within football are starting to see what Mike Ashley is all about, and they're starting to see what we've been seeing for the last 12 years, and he's just running our club into the ground. It's not going to last forever. We're not going to keep clawing to 40 points forever. He knows it. We know it. This, him leaving the club and a new owner coming in, whoever that may be, needs to happen ASAP.
Yeah.
Yo, Arsenal are 3 down.
Yeah, that's I've been watching that. Sorry.
You see what I mean?
You know the madness.
See what I mean?
And that's what all we're asking for. We would never do that. We would never do that. We'd sit back and let them express themselves.
They're 3 down against Aston Villa.
Arsenal could play exactly how they're playing tonight against Newcastle and win 2-0. You know what I mean? Win 2-0 and we wouldn't even have a shot on goal.
It'll be 5. It'll be 5. Remember we lose 5.
What I'm saying is that Arsenal are playing absolutely atrocious, but they'd still win 2-0 and we'd still wouldn't get a shot on goal on their performance tonight. I'm not talking about when they play well.
Against Man United, Bruce said in his press conference, they'd do that to you. They've not been doing that all season. What do you mean they'd do that to you? They've not been doing anything all season. They did it to you.
Bruce just rehashes his same press conferences over and over. I don't listen to anymore because you know what? I've heard them at some point. Whether it was with us over the last 18 months, whether it was at Sheffield Wednesday, whether it was Sheffield United, whether it was at Birmingham, whether it was at Villa, wherever he's been, Sunderland. I've heard that press conference before. All he does is rehash them. He's got them on a spreadsheet, and he goes, which one will I use today? I think I'll take that one, just in case we lose. I think I'll take that one if we draw, and I think I'll take that one if we win. And all he does is rehash the same bullshit over and over again. I don't listen to him. He don't tell me anything new. He don't tell me anything that I don't already know myself, or he don't tell me anything that I've not already seen myself with my own eyes. He's no different to us. He's just a fan. He's just a well. He's not, and he's not even that because he's not even a Newcastle fan. But he's no different to us. The only difference is that he's got the Newcastle tracksuit on that says SB on the front, and that he gets to stand on the touchline and point his finger at people for 90 minutes. That's all. That's the only difference between me and you and Iceman and 40 compared to him. That's all. That's the only difference.
Yeah. Just before we wrap things up, Chelsea, the next game.
Some good news, Dom.
I've not got any hopes for it, but go on, give us a score line, Funby.
You know what? It's a weird one because we've got 2 weeks to wait for it. If it was next week, I can have a feeling, but I'm just going to be like, I don't even care about Newcastle. I was in a mood last night, and I was like, why am I in a mood? Then I was like, because Newcastle lost. That's why I'm in a mood. Yeah. So if I come back to it, if I think ahead, right now, the way I see it, I want us to get buried so that I can cuss Bruce again. However, with my thinking hat, for some reason, 4D, I do believe we're going to get a draw just because, not because we're good, because Chelsea just for some reason choke at St. James's Park. But hey, if they strip search us, I won't be surprised. So I'm going to go 1-1.
Look, anything under 5 is a win for us. It could be a cricket score, literally. It literally could be a cricket score. Like that's real talk. That's what I'm saying, Dom. There you go.
It can get ugly.
It can get ugly, like a masterpiece sneaker, bro. Like it can get ugly, but. You know what? Like you said, for me, the thing is as well, we're so inconsistent. We'll probably turn up against Chelsea, nick a last-minute winner, and then the Bruce press will be out. what a masterclass by T. Bruce. And then I'll be tagging everyone. I'll be like, Bruce Loner football's back. And then we'll be like, oh my God, Joe Linton's probably gone and scored the winner off his arm. And then we'll be like, oh my God, let's frame his arms or something like that. And then we'll go back after that to being 5 defeats in a row. So we'll look at the Chelsea game as, yeah, it's a free hit. Yeah, we'll probably get panned. Or we might get a last-minute winner. It'll be nothing in between. It won't be a draw. It'll be one or the other because that's Newcastle United. This is soap opera. It's a Geordie soap opera. So I don't know. I'm going to go with 2 results. Either 4-0 to Chelsea or 1 minute last-minute goal to Newcastle off Joe Linton's arse. And if I get one of those 2, then I'm an absolute genius and I should be the next Newcastle United manager.
Here's the thing. Yeah. Before Pete says his scoreline, here's the thing. You will know in the first 10 minutes. If we're going to get blown out 4-0, you're going to know that in the first 10. You will know because there'll be 2-0 up by that time if we're going to get blown out. If we don't, then yeah, who knows?
Who knows?
For me, look, it's easy to say we're going to get absolutely hammered, but it's a weird one because actually against the better teams, we tend to play. I'm going to choose my words carefully. I'm going to say we tend to play better. We tend to do better. What's the reason for that? It's because we don't have the possession of the ball. Is that those better teams come out and attack us, and they need to score. They need to beat us. They need to put us to the sword. And what are we good at doing? We're good at doing putting men behind the ball. So we'll play that 3-5-2 or whatever it is. We'll play whatever that formation is, and we'll make it hard for them. And we'll put men behind the ball, and we'll stop them playing. And we may get to 60, 70 minutes and it's 0-0. We may nick a goal and try and hold on to it. We may go 1-0 down and then hold on to that 1-0 defeat for the rest of the game. I have no idea. And I always say it, and Fumby's just said it, I have to wait for the first 5 or 10 minutes to see how Newcastle come out. And I knew on Friday, within the first 5 or 10 minutes, we were not going to win that game. And it was going to take a huge amount of luck for us to get anything in that game. And it was proven right because we didn't get anything and we didn't deserve anything. It'll be exactly the same against not Crystal Palace, Chelsea. And then after that, it'll be the same against Crystal Palace and so on and so forth. So I do think that we'll frustrate Chelsea. They don't have a great record against us at St. James's. And look, for all their good players, I still don't think they're playing great. I know they beat Sheffield United, but Sheffield United actually went out and attacked Chelsea. And that was their biggest fault, is that they went out and went pound for pound with Chelsea and then got found out. And that's why they ended up, and that's why they got hit for 4 ultimately. Whereas I don't think Newcastle won't do that. I like I say, I think we'll lose, but I don't think it'll be by a huge margin. I say it'll probably be 1-0 or maybe 2-1. But I think we'll make it difficult for them because I think we'll just sit men behind the ball.
Yeah. At home, by the way, guys, we're at home.
Yeah, that doesn't matter anymore. That doesn't matter anymore.
Down Hackney Marshes, we can still hold fire, bruv. It doesn't matter where we are, we can still hold fire.
No, I'm just saying how we're gonna park the bus at home. We're gonna sit back at home and let Chelsea put the feet on our couch.
We'll part the difference. Listen, we'll part the same in the living room, bruv. We got that handbrake on lock, just like that.
We did it exactly the same in January. In January, when we beat them, we did exactly the same. We should have been hit for 3 or 4 in that game. We managed to hold on and nicked literally last kick of the game winner with Isaac Hayden. And we'll do exactly the same again. The only difference is that we don't have the roar of the fans to back us. We don't have our 12th man. And in games this season that we've played at home with our 12th man, with the fans, with 52,000 fans cheering them on, we wouldn't have lost 3-0 to Brighton. We wouldn't have got beat by that score against Man United. I think if we'd have scored that goal early on against Man United, went 1-0 up, I think we wouldn't have conceded such sloppy goals after that. I think we would have maybe held on for something, held on for a draw. That's the difference. The fans not being there, it literally makes it an even contest at home. It just eradicates any chance of us having any form of beneficial favour at our own ground, and that's we're one of a few clubs. I think Crystal Palace are the same because they've got great fans and get behind them. It don't matter anymore. It don't make a difference.
Yeah. Anyway, fellas, what I'd like to say is, I'm fully behind this, phone a friend movement, with Steve Wraith and all the lads on the X Players and everything else. Totally honest with you, just being on with you three tonight has lifted my spirits. Totally honest with you. Thank you very much, and thanks for coming on. Cheers, lads.
Thank you so much, man.
No worries, man.
Take care, guys. Take it easy.
Thanks.
Peace.
Peace out. Thank you there for Geordie's Down South being on my show. Absolutely loved every single minute of that, and it just goes to show how much a good laugh can help someone's mental health or someone's spirits. So please get behind Phone a Friend, and thanks very much. Good night.